And so I took the liberty of looking at the distance. Now, this right here is the coordinates that was given in the sea tow call from Wyatt, and the distance between, let's say, the shore. And I took the closest point. I didn't take the middle. I took, because he said in the water, right? And so that's roughly about 3.35 or 550 meters or 1,800 feet from the shore. So the attorney says Bart provided assistance and helped them on the shore. Now, I'm not an expert, a boater, just an expert in that regard. I'm just using my common human sense to note that anything that's a quarter of a mile, no, I guarantee you there's not a person. I can't say that because I saw Bo Jackson throw a ball pretty goddamn far. But I mean, even he couldn't hit a baseball more than 600 feet, this is 3 times the distance. So you're telling me people would be able to see this far out? No, we know this not to be true. They might be able to see the boat, but what's going on the boat? I mean, even at 100 feet, it gets kind of fishy. I mean, someone who has perfect eyesight without binoculars being able to see a whole bunch of stuff going on makes what he's saying unbelievable at certain, or laughable at this point. But for devil's advocate, this is not offshore. This is way offshore. Because I would say, let's just ask the terminology shore. How far is the shore from, let's say, where the water touches the beach to the endpoint of the so-called shore?
Give me a moment to look at the map details for you. Based on the information for Horn Island, the island is quite narrow, with a maximum width of no more than 1 mile across. This means that the distance from one side shoreline to the other generally won't exceed that distance.
So just take from, let's say, this area right here, the wave point I'm making right here, right? How far offshore, feet-wise, would you say that would be from, let's say, the body of water?
Let me take a closer look at the map for you. Based on the scale shown on the screen, that red pin appears to be roughly 300 to 400 feet offshore from the nearest shoreline of the island.
Oh, so it is offshore.
Yes, that's right. Looking closely at the map scale, those coordinates place the pin right out in the water, a little bit away from the coastline of Horn Island. Is there anything specific you wanted to explore regarding that particular spot?
Yeah, not really. I'm just trying to get the understanding. What is the shoreline? How far from the beach is the shoreline?
The shoreline is simply the line where the body of water meets the land. So the place where the water touches the sand on the beach is basically the exact location of the shoreline. There isn't usually a distance between the beach and the shoreline because the beach is formed right at that transition point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so basically when someone says the shoreline, that's when the water touches, let's say, the beach area up to a certain point. So the shoreline would either contrast or constrict based on tide. Is that my understanding?
That's absolutely right. The shoreline is indeed the exact line where the water touches the land, and because of the tides, that line moves back and forth. So the shoreline does expand and contract with the changing water levels. Is there anything else about coastal features you'd like to explore?
Yeah, I have one last question. My question would be, based on the time of, let's say, 4:30, the shoreline would have been high tide or low tide?
Let me check the tide information for that area for you. Based on the tide information for Horn Island on Tuesday, August 18, 2026, the low tide occurred at around 11:08 in the morning. Since the area has a diurnal tide pattern, meaning there is generally only one high and one low tide per day, the tide would be rising or flooding at 4:30 in the afternoon, on its way toward the next high tide.
So, just for devil's advocate, the distance between the original coordinates wouldn't have affected the distance. It would only affected the shoreline because of the tide, not necessarily from the distance of the water from the vessel distress call to the shore, correct?
You've got that exactly right. The
Hmm.
fixed coordinates of the vessel distress calls stay the same regardless of the tide, so that distance doesn't change. The movement from the tide only affects where the shoreline meets the water. Is there anything specific about that distance you're looking into further?
Yeah, I'm looking into the report that an attorney, Mr. Latino, Bart Jr.'s attorney, stating that he provided assistance at the shore. So that would mean at the anchoring point of the island. So I just want to confirm with you that based on the coordinates that was given in the CETO call, that wasn't on shore. That would have been offshore, correct?
Let me confirm those details. Based on the coordinates and the map data shown on the screen, those points are definitively located offshore in the water, which supports your understanding that the assistance provided was not directly on the shoreline itself.
Thank you. So, by the way, that's how you use AI to assist your hunches or suggestions, or in this case, what do they call it? Oh, suspicions. So let's go back into this.
Surgical with it, Jake.